year long, and they've given me such a reliable car. It's really disappointment that we had an engine pop today.
Thanks, Robbie.
All right.
That's not luck. That is skillful. He really kept that car off the wall. Oil pouring out from behind the car, under the rear tires, got her down on the pit road, and then still kept it off the wall. We're still under yellow. Focusing on the leader of the Marlboro 500 under yellow, Al Unser Jr., with Raul Boesel in second place. Now that Robbie Gordon had an engine go, something that we had a little bit of a prediction, because you saw that bit of a bobble that was probably the start of his engine going.
And actually saw Emerson make a very easy pass into turn one, which surprised us a little bit. And then this happened. Listen. That's what it's like to hear an engine blow, begin to disintegrate. The driver presses his foot on the clutch, and then he tries to control it, but there was too much oil out on that rear wheel. That racing team dodged a machine gun hail this year, because he could have destroyed that car if he hit the wall.
All right, this was the other question, and it's as we called it. Emerson Fittipaldi got to the blend line right there at the same time as the pace car. Blend line's actually back a little bit now as the pace car came in, but when they got to the line, they hit it simultaneously, so the officials decided call it in favor of Emerson Fittipaldi. So we're still under yellow. 48 laps complete. We're on the 188th lap. Roger Penske, will he be celebrating in the victory circle at his track? We talked at the beginning, Derek, about the punishment on the race cars here.
It is quite phenomenal here, but I heard a very nice story that included the Penske team. They came here tested, and their push rods were not man enough for the job. What did they do? They made them stronger, obviously, but they made a phone call to the Reynard company and said, by the way, these are the stresses that we have experienced. This is what you need to build your push rods to, and Reynard built theirs stronger. So although they're the competition, the safety of the drivers is what is paramount. How much do they stress the push rods to? 13,000 pounds of load is what they expect them to withstand.
One of America's most recognized corporate symbols, the Goodyear blimp, hovers overhead providing aerial views of Michigan International Speedway and the surrounding Irish Hills here today. And those views do help tell us something about the race and the speeds of closure. Update on Scott Goodyear, Gary Gerald.
Well, let's follow up. Remember that stop where he came in and the motor was quiet? We thought that he had run out of fuel. As it turned out, they took on 38 and a fraction gallons in that 40-gallon capacity. So there was fuel on board. They've determined, remember we told you about that shift indicator light that had malfunctioned on the dash. Apparently it got into the electronics and the gremlin spread, and he was getting a false reading on his fuel that was left. So he's got a couple of problems there to contend with. That's what cost them so much time in the pit. But ironically, he did have fuel. It wasn't out. The machine caught, and they're hoping that that electronic gremlin doesn't resurface before the end of this race.
Well, when you use microprocessors, that can happen. Goodyear's still fourth, though, as we come back to the green flag. Quite a gap from the front of the field back to the rest of the cars. Al Unser Jr. is the leader, and he's back in that group. Moving low, looking for racing room, and Raul Boesel is right there.
And Willie T. Riggs with the slow car down the inside, but look at Boesel versus Al Jr. This is good stuff.
Raul Boesel was running faster than little Al coming into this last yellow flag session. Can he continue to run faster?
And the adjustments he made in the pit stop may be the key. They wound down that front wing to give him more downforce. He's quick off turn 4. Here we go.
Raul Boesel moves for the lead of the Marlboro 500. And boy, he handles up little Al with no problem. So the guy that was faster earlier then had problems with the front end. They made a 2-turn adjustment to both wings in the front end. Simon doing that. And boy, it made a world of difference. It's paid off right now as Raul is back in front and pulling away from little Al. Dick Simon and his wife, they couldn't be happier.
And Dick Simon had the frown earlier when Al Jr. made the pass, and now Penske has the frown. So Boesel is back in control. He's in contention. Does he deserve a win? We don't know. He's going to have to fight really hard here to fend off Al Jr. if he wins this in the Duracell car.
One would presume the scenario here is one more pit stop to the end of the race. It's been a race punctuated by 6 yellow flags, so that will figure into the strategy and whether or not somebody wants to pit right on schedule or maybe try and hold just a little bit longer. Jan Bikas, you have an update.
Well, when you're talking about Raul Boesel and you're talking about taking wing out of the front, that was what the big discussion was in the Penske camp. In other words, for Raul Boesel to pass in the way he did, it really helped him that he had less downforce. When you come in to change the handling, you always want to take downforce out. They were very fortunate that car was getting loose and not picking up a push.
Third place, Emerson Fittipaldi. Front 3 cars very close together on this 2-mile superspeedway. Goodyear is 4th. First 3 cars, the only cars on the lead lap. And they're right together.
And if you listen very
Marco
carefully...
GRECO slows down. Oh, he was having a great run, was in 8th place.
Brings lots of Brazilian sponsorship. Borden is the one that's on the side pod, a meat exporting business from Brazil to America. They had a great run today. Hopefully he's not finished, but it looks terminal.
Very pleasant young man with a nice smile. The 71 car is Scott Sharp, and he pulls to the inside. That's in a precarious position. I assume we go yellow for that.
Scott Sharp running in 8th place, had a big spin here just before qualifying on Friday. Scared him coming out of turn 2, but he brings out a full course yellow.
Yellow flag flies over Michigan as Marco GRECO comes into the pits with obviously something seriously wrong, and the run at the Michigan 500 is interrupted once again, but Raul Boesel has gotten back to the front. The Marlboro 500 at Michigan. I'm Paul Page with Derek Daly, Jan Bikas, and Gary Gerald covering from the pits as we are under our 7th yellow of the day. 197 laps are now complete. The leader of the race under the yellow is Raul Boesel, followed by Al Unser Jr., Emerson Fittipaldi. Scott Goodyear is in 4th place, 1 lap down. In 5th place, 3 laps down, is Dominic Dobson, who had to acknowledge a passing the pace car penalty. They brought him into the pits for a stop and wait. He is back on the track once again. ARIE LUYENDYK, and by the way, stayed in 5th position. ARIE LUYENDYK runs in 6th place, followed by FABI, then Mark Smith, Hiro MATSUSHITA, and until he fell out, which is the reason for this yellow, Scott Sharp was in 10th place. This rundown is 2 laps ago, just before the yellow, but it does give you an idea of who is in and who is out, and pretty close where they are.
And as we wait to get a green flag, we have a tremendous race in prospect here. LUYENDYK following, Mark Smith here, but the 3 leaders, Boesel and the 2 Penskes, are one behind the other.
And with Boesel in front, as we watch both Scott Goodyear and ARIE LUYENDYK come into the pits, Gary, I guess there is some tension down there?
Well, let's find out from Dick Simon. How are the nerves right now? How much apprehension?
Well, Gary, we're pretty excited. The whole team, actually. We feel that we deserve a win somewhere along the way. We've been trying so hard. The car is being a little temperamental at the moment. That new bracket that we put on that Lola gave us just before the race is creating a little bit of nightmare. The car is pushing continually. The changes that we're making are making it better, but it keeps going away on us and starts to push again. So if God's willing and help us make the right decision, maybe we can bring him home.
Now you're going to change tire pressures, and of course you're looking at one more stop. Now when do you get in that window now for that final stop?
Well, we'll get in that window in probably another 30 laps. We'll be trying to, less than that actually, we'll be trying on that last stop to change the pressure in the left rear and the pressure in the right front to create a little bit more cross weight for him, giving a little more bite in the front, and then he can adjust the anti-roll bars inside the cockpit if that works. If it doesn't, I guess we can't say we didn't give it our best.
All right, Dick Simon, we'll watch right along with you, and I know it's been a long wait. Maybe this will be the day.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Let's go to Jan.
Well, Gary, talking about Dick Simon, it turns out that the Penske team right now are taking their cues from Dick Simon. They were going to come in if Raul Boesel pitted. They are queuing right now off Raul Boesel. Whatever Dick Simon does, then Roger Penske will follow. Obviously, Dick Simon put to rest what I had spoken about. I thought they were taking front wing out of BOESEL's car. Of course, they're putting it in. So he does have a slower straightaway speed, but no, because now he can get through the corners quicker. He gets a higher speed coming off the turn, which is carrying all the way down into the end of the straightaway.
And Penske just following one of the oldest rules in racing, follow the leader. Whatever he does, you do. He turns in, you turn in. The leader currently is Raul Boesel. Under yellow, Penske cars are second and third. We'll be back with more from Michigan. Well, if you can believe it, with 7 different yellow flags affecting 55 laps, the average speed here is still 156.5 miles an hour. ARIE LUYENDYK, the 28 car, is in 6th position. We are still under a full course yellow.
The most prestigious Formula 3 race in Europe used to be the Monaco Grand Prix. Now it's the Marlboro Masters in Zandvoort, Holland, and that is why ARIE LUYENDYK will bring this car for an IndyCar demonstration next week to his hometown, and they are waiting to see what an IndyCar sounds and looks like.
Bill Cosby's driver, Willie T. Ribbs. So much training in the Trans Am, now having to restyle his driving for the open wheel cars. Another driver for Derek Walker's team.
And moonlighting as an actor. Our boy Willie has now done several sessions on Cosby's new Mysteries television show, so he's working on his new career.
Let's go to the pits, Jan Beekes.
Well, while we have a moment, we can explain about those front wings. We've mentioned it so often. This is a Penske front nose box, and of course the wings stay covered because they like to keep them secret. But what we can see is how they adjust them. They put a little bit of fluorescent tape here, Day-Glow tape, so that when they're doing it in a hurry and turning it, they can make sure it's either a half turn or a full turn that they're changing it. Right now, we have heard that a half turn here at Michigan makes a huge difference. It moves this, I believe, about 10/20 thousandths of an inch.
Jan, look, as long as you're there, just lift that cover off. We'd like to get a glimpse of what's there. No problem?
Well, I don't think I should, because Roger's kind of looking over my shoulder, but we'll try that another time, Paul.
Okay.
It'll be the last time you'll be allowed into the Penske pit.
They are so sensitive about it. I'm surprised you can get that close with a camera, because there's all kinds of intelligence work going on up and down these pits the whole time.
Another interested spectator here this weekend is Derek Warwick from Formula One. Sits out this season, but he tells me he just has a burning desire to get back to racing full-time, and he'd like that racing to be in IndyCar.
Yeah, I talked to him, and he said he didn't realize how much it hurt not being in racing for that 1 year, and he would really, exactly what you said, he would really love to come over here. He's certainly looking up and down the pits. Still under yellow, the Marlboro 500. Back at the Marlboro 500 at Michigan at the 202nd lap. 57 of the laps today have been under yellow. We are still under yellow. We should be back to green shortly. Al Unser Jr. is very definitely making his presence felt at the back end of Raul's car. Raul, remember, as the leader of the race as we head back toward green, sets the pace coming to green, but the pace car is running very slow ahead of them, and they're going to get bottled up.
Oh, they did get bottled up.
There's the flag. Boy, what a close call that may be.
And Boesel was lucky that Al Jr. also made a run with him into turn 3 and had to back off. And the pack suddenly descends, led by FABI behind Al Unser Jr.
If you were Raul, would you have taken that chance?
Oh, yeah, but the problem is the pace car. He didn't anticipate just how slowly the pace car was running through turn 4. And pace car being driven, I believe, by Gordon Johncock.
Scott Goodyear as he moves around Emerson Fittipaldi. Now that gets him back up a lap. Remember, he had all of his problems with the electronics that brought him into the pits with the engine shut off. He gained back 1 lap. He's still got a lap to gain. If he can get around Boesel and get back on the leader lap, he can get back in this fight.
And great to see Goodyear showing his true form at last this season. It has not been a happy marriage between the Bernstein team and Scott Goodyear. They will part and go separate ways next season, but he is having a great run.